All right, let's talk about a conversation that's been going on for millions of years, right under our feet, completely in secret. Today, we're going to decode the hidden language of plants.
So let's just jump right in. When we walk through a forest, we think of plants as these beautiful, essential, but kind of passive things, right? They're just sitting there, soaking up the sun in a world that to us seems pretty quiet. But what if that quiet is actually just a frequency we can't hear? What if the forest is actually roaring with conversation?
Well, it turns out scientists have uncovered this secret, bustling world that's happening literally right under our feet. It's a vast, hidden network that basically connects the entire forest, allowing it to act less like a collection of individual trees and more like a single giant superorganism.
And at the heart of all this is something called the mycorrhizal network. It's a fancy name, but it just means fungus root. Think of it as the biological internet of the plant world. This incredible web of fungi connects something like 90% of all land plants. It's the absolute backbone of our forests. So how does it work? Well, it's a pretty simple and brilliant trade-off. The fungi are like master miners, and they're amazing at pulling hard-to-get nutrients and water out of the soil and delivering them straight to the tree's roots. In return, the trees pay them with sugar, the energy they make from sunlight. It's a classic win-win. A partnership so successful it might be the very reason complex life on land was possible in the first place.
But here's where it gets really mind-blowing. This connection is about so much more than just trading food. This network isn't just a marketplace, it's a high-speed data line. It's a communications grid that allows for a level of coordination that we're only just beginning to understand. So if there's a giant data network, what are they saying? For literally millions of years, a conversation has been happening that we were completely blind to and deaf to. We just didn't have the biological tools to perceive it until now. We've always just assumed plants were silent, that they responded to the world through slow, almost imperceptible growth. But a huge breakthrough using artificial intelligence completely shattered that idea. So a team of researchers set up this really cool experiment. They put a bunch of plants in a soundproof chamber and decided to, listen. They put the plants under stress. They stopped watering one group and carefully snipped the stems of another. At first, there was nothing, just silence. But then, that silence was broken. The plants started talking, or more accurately, screaming. They started making these rapid-fire, high-frequency popping sounds. Now, to be clear, these were ultrasonic sounds, way, way outside the range of human hearing. They were communicating on a completely different frequency. And just look at this chart. The difference is absolutely stark. A healthy, happy plant on the left, it's making maybe one click an hour, almost silent. But the stressed plant, it's letting out between 30 and 50 of these ultrasonic clicks every single hour. The evidence is just undeniable. And get this, it wasn't just random noise. An AI was trained to listen to these clicks, and it could tell you with about 84% accuracy exactly what was wrong. It could distinguish between the sound of a thirsty plant and the sound of a plant being cut. This wasn't just a generic scream. It was a highly specific, detailed cry for help.
Okay, so if plants are broadcasting their problems with such detail, it raises a huge question. Who's listening? And what else might they be talking about? Well, the answer takes us right back underground.
That Wood Wide Web, it isn't just for moving nutrients around, it's the fiber optic cable for these distress signals. For instance, scientists watched what happened when one tree was attacked by aphids. It didn't just fight back on its own. It sent out a frantic chemical alarm through that fungal network to all its neighbors. But, it's not all one big happy family down there. It's a lot like human society. You have incredible cooperation, like Douglas firs and paper birches sharing food depending on which one is getting more sunlight. And then you have straight-up warfare. The black walnut tree will actually pump toxins into the network to poison and sabotage its rivals. So when you put it all together, what you've got is an incredibly complex society. There are alliances, rivalries, organized defense. They share resources, they warn each other, they sabotage their enemies, and they can even recognize their own family, sending more help to their own kin. It's a literal social network that's been running for millions of years. Okay, so plants can warn each other about insects. Fine, but what about the single biggest force of change in their world? What about us? Can they tell the difference between a friend and a foe? To figure that out, scientists came up with this experiment that is, frankly, a little creepy but totally brilliant. They hooked up plants to sensitive electrodes to measure their internal electrical signals. Then they introduced two people to the plants, a nurturer who always watered them and an assaulter who regularly came in and snipped their leaves. Now, at first, the plants showed a general stress response to both people. A stranger is a stranger. But after just a few days, something absolutely incredible started to happen. We're talking about a clear demonstration of learning, of memory, in an organism with no brain. Here's what happened. When the nurturer entered the room, the plant's signals stayed calm. They were acoustically silent. But the second the assaulter walked in, the entire system went wild. Their internal electrical signals spiked like crazy. And this is the shocking part. They started blasting out that very specific "I'm being cut" ultrasonic distress call before the scissors even got close. They associated a specific person with a specific threat. They remembered. I mean, that just changes everything, right? This means we are not just moving through a passive green backdrop. We are moving through a world that is aware, a world that is watching, listening, and remembering our actions. So, what does this actually mean for us? Well, this isn't just some cool science trivia. It has profound, real-world implications that could genuinely change how we manage our entire planet. Take forestry, for example. For years, the practice has been to clear-cut the biggest, oldest trees. But now we know those aren't just big trees. They are the mother trees, the central hubs, the main servers of this entire network. Taking one of them out doesn't just kill one tree. It can crash the whole system and cause the entire forest to decline. And in agriculture, this could be a total game changer. Imagine if, instead of dumping tons of chemical fertilizers on our fields, we could cultivate these fungal networks. We could essentially plug our crops into this natural internet, letting it deliver water and nutrients for us, sustainably. So, thanks for joining this explainer. I think the big question this all leaves us with is right here on the screen. Now that we're finally learning to hear the planet's distress signals, can we really afford to keep ignoring them? The next time you walk through a park or a forest, just remember, you're not alone. You are in a complex, communicating society. The silence isn't empty, it's full of conversation.